Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, for purchase and pricing questions. Today, we are discussing a 2020 model year limited edition of 50 pieces in yellow gold from Oris. This is the Oris Aquis Carysfort Reef Gold Edition, a timepiece dedicated to coral reef preservation and restoration. You can see it is a substantial high luxury watch, a realm where Oris as a manufacturer rarely plays. So 43.5 millimeters in diameter, the watch is reasonably thin at 13 millimeters thick. That rather surprised me. And given its size, it's fairly short across the wrist at 49.9 millimeters lug to lug. It uses a proprietary strap. We'll talk about that junction in a moment. We'll throw it on my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, and it actually fits well. It's not huge across the wrist, nor is it particularly thick. It is a large diameter, however, so it has a handsome, broad, almost saucer-like appearance on the wrist, like a big gold hockey puck. I could recommend it for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. Any smaller, though, I think would probably be pushing it. But it is a remarkably easy, large watch to wear because of how short it is across the lugs. Now, this is a fascinating textile embossed pattern, or it's sort of like a pyramid, but it's embossed on a oily nubuck leather. So it's a calf skin. It is very supple. It's got a rubber lining on the underside to separate the grit and moisture and the oils of the wrist from the strap itself. It is a very dark blue, about navy blue matte finish is how I describe it. And as you can see, it is substantially bolstered to add volume, and there is rubber on both sides of this brand new Oris factory strap. Now, taking a look at the buckle, again, unusual. This is where you expect to see bronze with an Oris watch, but you can see on the underside, this is true 18-karat yellow gold. The watch, and this is in good taste, is primarily of satin finish. You can see the characteristic Oris Aquis case, distinct from, say, a Rolex Submariner, in that the lugs are sharply broken out from the case band rather than integrated. You can see that the strap's actually held on by screws and a bar, so that's more secure for the purpose of longevity and safety than a spring bar, especially since this is a far more expensive and substantial Oris watch than their typical fare. Polished lug hoods, you can see that there's some polish on the crown guard structures as well as the crown and the outer lip of the bezel, so there are a few polished accents. The crown guards are held on separately by screws, so if they ever get gouged, they can actually be replaced rather than just refinished. And all told, it is a fascinating and unusual form. You can even see that the case is conical and that it actually narrows a little bit as you move up toward the bezel. A lot going on here, but very handsome. A good judicious blend of blue and gold tones, and the bezel is a bidirectional rotating GMT style rather than a strict dive bezel. It has a dark blue gloss ceramic insert for scratch resistance, so that bezel as well as the sapphire will help shield the rest of the watch from scratches. And there is an extraordinary blue sunburst metallic dial with gold accents, and as you can see, applique gold-plated steel hands, yes, gold-plated, but applique indices. And then there is a little track and a second arrow index, I'll show you that right here, that allows you to set the second time zone. Now, the purpose of the bezel, assuming you set that second time zone, which is in 24-hour format, if you set that 24-hour hand to Greenwich Mean Time, then you can use this bezel and the local GMT offset of your destination to temporarily find 2, even 3 time zones with the use of the bezel. However, most folks are not going to specifically reference Greenwich Mean Time, so most of the time this will be a dual time with your 12-hour hand, which also drives the date, and then that 24-hour hand, which is your reference time, or the time where you are not. One fascinating refinement of this SW330 base is, just like the ETA 28932 on which it's derived, you can see that it has a system that allows you to rapidly set the 24-hour hand, but then you also have a traditional quick set for the date. On a lot of GMT style watches, you wind up having to roll the local hour hand again and again around the dial to change the date. Here you actually have a proper quick set for that. Of course, you pull the crown out all the way, and the watch does have hacking or stop seconds. Screw the crown back in. It is a gratifying crown to use. It is exceptionally large and deeply knurled. Not a whole lot to see through the case back, but on the case back, we are commemorating the Carysfort Reef Foundation's 30,000 corals planted, and of course a small portion of the original sale of this watch went to benefit that cause. It's an attractive gold and blue case back that's nicely suited to the watch. The movement isn't high horology, and frankly, I appreciate the thoughtful commemorative case back rather than a contrived sapphire view of an industrially finished movement. All of this is 300 meters water resistant, and as you can see, it is individually numbered out of 50. So with only 50 made, 49 not including this one, this is an extraordinarily exclusive take on the diving GMT genre from Oris. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this watch. In terms of tech specs, very simple. Automatic winding, bidirectional action, 42-hour power reserve, 12 and 24-hour independently setting time zones. You have a quick set date, you have hacking seconds, it beats away at a 4 Hz beat rate, and it pivots on 28 joules. Time out, Tim out, Oris out. Thanks for logging on. Back with the Aquis Carysfort Reef.